Hey everyone, welcome to Dreadnought Mondays. Today we're here with Alex Beekley. Alex, thanks for taking the time to be here today. Looking forward to this. If you wouldn't mind to spend a minute and tell us about yourself, your business, and maybe a little bit of background.
Yeah, of course. I'm Alex Beekley. I just turned 18 a couple months ago and graduated from high school. And in the time that we've been in COVID, I have turned a project into a business. And right now we're working on providing personalized high quality face masks to just different companies, people, individuals who really want that personalization but want to keep themselves protected as well. So I just met the right people, I guess, at the right time and put everything together. And with all the knowledge and the skills that I learned through the process, it's a huge learning curve, but I was able to kind of pivot it into a business. And then right now I'm working on trying to expand it to other promotional items for businesses and then individuals as well. So that's kind of my main project I'm working on. So the past couple of years, I've been really interested in business. I didn't really get into it until about a year and a half ago when on my 17th birthday, I realized that I was going to be an adult in a year, and I just was freaking out. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then pretty much an opportunity landed in my lap. I got this amazing book that my mom had for a few years, and she didn't understand it, but she she wanted me to learn from it. She thought I had that kind of mindset. So I read the book in 24 hours, and it pretty much just changed my mindset, changed how I wanted to approach my life. And from then on, I just went out, did a bunch of things, and learned as much as I could in the business world. So that's a little bit about me. I am the oldest of my family. I have one sister who has just started high school, so that's exciting. And then, I'm basic family living in Utah and just trying to make a difference in the world.
Awesome, thank you. So you mentioned a book. What book was it?
Yeah, it's funny because there's either people who know who he is or have never heard of him, but I think he's in the right space. But I remember we actually moved right on my birthday, my 17th birthday. So I was helping my mom unbox all of our stuff. And she found this book and she's like, I hated it. I didn't want to read it. So she's like, you could read it. And I was like, I don't want to. It's an education book. I don't want to read that. But I was kind of desperate at that point. So I was like, I'll read it. And it was called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. And my mom had actually met him when he was just starting ClickFunnels and everything he's doing right now. So it was kind of crazy. She thought it was a really weird idea. No way it was going to be successful. But if you see him now, he kind of has things going for him. So I read the book and it just talked a lot about the different approaches you could do with trying to get traffic or people to go through what he calls a funnel instead of a website, and it's more direct. It's easier to get people to go through, connect with you, especially if you're telling stories and then want to buy things from you and then want to build that relationship as well. So it was kind of cool just to see that difference in what other people were trying to tell me. So I think that's what really intrigued me, was just it was different, and it was from this guy who, back then he didn't know that much, but now he's done this for 15 years and he really has a lot of experience that goes in with what he teaches. So that kind of just opened my mind to it. And I read the book and I kind of forgot about it. And then a couple months ago, I found another one of his book, Traffic Secrets, and then also his program for One Fun Way Challenge. And that just kind of took me through all the processes, and I got to meet some of his mentors and then his people who goes with, like Stephen Larson is one of my main mentors that I haven't actually met him in person, but he's very, just the way that he speaks is inspirational, but he's very blunt and straightforward about things. So just through that and everything, that's kind of what brought me into the kind of things that I'm doing now. And it was a cool book to read. I can't believe I read it in 24 hours, but
That's awesome. There's a bunch of those books that you can't put down. So, yeah, I had a chance to hear him speak at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference a couple years ago. So he's got some good stuff, that's for sure. You mentioned that you just graduated high school. What was some of your mindset shifts? Because I'm sure you got a lot of a lot of feedback, a lot of negativity. Oh, you're too young to start a business, or to know what you're talking about, or or you don't know anything, or why should I trust someone just out of high school? And, if you wouldn't mind, talk about that for a minute, and what helped you push past that versus just burying your head in the sand, if you will, and fitting back in the norm.
Yeah, totally. I actually had a lot of support just from the people around me, but when I started to go out and say, like, give advice or do all these things just from like my personal experience, a lot of people were very like, okay, this is an 18-year-old, why? It was kind of that stereotypical thing where most 18-year-olds, most young people really don't know what they're talking about. And it is true. A lot of people at that age don't know what they're doing. They don't know anything really that a lot of people would perceive as value. But I think a lot of people everyone has a perspective that they could share. And it doesn't matter if you kind of relay the same things over and over again. Like a few people say the same thing, but if they say it differently, and sometimes when someone else says something, the same thing, but they say it differently, it really resonates with different people. So you can get the same point across just from that. So that's kind of what gave me motivation. I was like, there's people out there who want to hear my perspective. And I think a lot of people, if they have that mindset and they can see that, even if it's just one person in the entire world who will care what you say, but it changes their life or it helps them through something they're going through, and that's a great motivation to go through. And it was pretty crazy. Most of the negativity or kind of the stereotypical things kind of ran through my head first, and was the kind of thing that I thought about more than what other people tried to tell me. Because I've always had that mindset of just like going out and doing things. So when I started doing that, people were like, yeah, she can't really do that, but she's just going for it. So why not? But yeah, it was definitely difficult at first, but having people around me who supported me and just were there for, even if they didn't know what I was doing or understand it, they were just there to provide that feedback. And then I was helping myself to grow and become more confident in myself. And once those things kind of came together, it didn't really matter what people thought or what they tried to tell me. And so I think that's what's helped me over these past few months.
That's awesome. That's powerful. Like you said, things can be repeated over and over and over again, many, many times throughout the years. But there's different people that are going to listen, are going to hear it, that may not have heard it from person A, but they heard it from you or whatever. And then, or like you said, sometimes the way people phrase it, it resonates, it clicks better. So that's awesome that you're able to push through that. So thank you for sharing that. What were aside from the mental frames, like what were some of the biggest challenges, especially with COVID, that you had to push through? Or what were some of the driving factors that made you turn it into a business? Instead of just, I'm just going to do it for a hobby. What made you think, I could make a business out of this, or what else can I do, or what else can I add to it? What helped you with that as well?
Yeah, so definitely some of the biggest challenges were just internally. There's external challenges like how am I going to get the capital to start a business? How am I going to, find the resources, do all these different things, learn all these different skills? There's definitely things that are obstacles you go through, but if you just kind of take it one thing at a time, then I think that's a little bit easier. But I saw pretty much COVID was more of an opportunity than a struggle for me specifically. I know a lot of entrepreneurs came out of this and they either got stronger or they started something or they were able to take this as more of an opportunity than a struggle. So that's kind of what I did. Like I said, I kind of knew the right people. And it was actually my mom who introduced me to the guy who actually made the face masks. And she knew him because they were in a business meeting group that they meet every week. And she knew that he was starting to do this. He actually was like one of the first people who started making masks, like right when, like the beginning of March, even before the lockdown even started for most places. But he started making them because he knew, like he saw that this was going to be a huge thing. So he was making them, but he didn't really have any, marketing strategies. He had a website, but it wasn't something that was like eye-catching, or it wasn't something that could create conversions. So I kind of looked at it, and from the experience I've had in my business classes, and then just looking at different programs, courses, and just different marketing that way, I looked at it and I was like, I could learn from this. Maybe I could connect with him and he would allow me to sell them through that. So we connected, and then I built a website, created ads, and just went for it. And it was a big learning curve, definitely trying to figure out, Shopify, how to do the back end, do Adobe Illustrator, learn how to do code, all that stuff just is stuff you have to learn through the process. You can have other people do it for you later, but I think you appreciate it more when you go through the struggle of actually trying to figure it out yourself. But I just took it as an opportunity, and I helped him, and he said I could create my own brand and my own company out of it. So I did that, and it hasn't been the biggest success ever, but I think it was more of an opportunity to just learn how to start a business, how to grow it. And then, if I don't end up doing this for the rest of my life, I think I will live. But I think it was just something that was supposed to teach me, and then kind of introduce me to people that I could either benefit or could benefit me, provide that value back and forth. And then, like, what I'm trying to do now is expand it to promotional items. I'm still trying to see if that's actually a viable idea, based on there's so many other promotional items or promotional items companies out there. And then, there's always different variables that go with it. But yeah, like I said, it was more of an experiment and kind of just growing and figuring it out myself, rather than having like a full-fledged company at my age. But that was definitely challenges there, but I think mainly it was an opportunity. So I think if other people want to do the same thing, or have like turn a hobby into a business, then I would say just go for it.
Awesome. I like what you said there again, and said earlier, you just start. You don't have to figure everything out at the beginning. You don't let that stop you. Whatever, just start. And and like you also alluded to, you never know where it's going to end up. If you just made face masks, just kept it as a hobby, you would have never even considered some of those things that you're looking into now, or even thought of them as possibilities, or made those connections that you have now, and have that mindset shift. If you didn't start it, or didn't pursue it, or push through the negativity, or the hardships, or the hassle and struggle and learning curve. And like you said, there were so many others kind of doing some of the similar things. But if that stopped everybody, then nobody would do anything.
Yeah.
You look around and you see 800 of these or 300 of these, but like I say, somebody needs your specific approach to it, or they will connect with you, your personality. So I think that's huge to repeat, is just start. You don't have to have all the answers, just start. So in all of this process, and in all this mindset shift or whatever, how has that changed has it impacted your future? What your thought process is, what your plan was for the future. If you're going to college for this path, is it now slightly shifted over here? How has that impacted those possibilities, those options, that direction?
Yeah. So I don't know if you call this just major confidence on my part, but ever since I was little, I had a feeling that I was meant to do something important. I don't know what that is yet exactly, but I know that through like all the processes I've gone through in the past couple of months, I know that has been able to give me an opportunity to actually fulfill on that, what you call that destiny or whatever. But I think that everyone has a possibility of doing something great in their life. It's just willingness to actually take action to do it. So I've always had that kind of mindset. But then like when I got introduced to like the dot-com secrets and then like my business classes and then all the people I've met, it's just kind of given me momentum to continue that. So through that, I think throughout my whole life, I've always wanted something different than like what the majority of people are doing, like go to school, get a job, you know, retire at 65 and then, you know, barely live and then you die at like 80. So that's just always kind of scared me. So I think I've actually been driven by the fear of being like everyone else and having that normal life. So that's just, and like I said, I think that's what business is. That's why it intrigues me so much, because it gives me the opportunity to be different and to, you know, provide for other people instead of being like everyone else at the same time. So I think that's helped me through with everything. Like I'm actually going to the University of Utah to do the major in entrepreneurship. And I think it could go either way. I could relearn things I've already learned, or, you know, just be there for more the experiences and meeting people than the actual education. But I think I would have gone into something else. Like I remember 2 years ago, right before I thought about doing anything about business, I was going to be like a veterinarian or like microbiologist or something. And I know I probably would have hated it because, I mean, I like science and math, but it's not something I would have loved. So I feel like if I went into that college, I would have changed and it would have gone back and forth and I probably would have been stuck in a job for a while. So I think through that, these past couple of months, I think it's really opened my eyes to what I could actually do and how much in control I am with my life. And it's really powerful when that happens. And even a lot of people go through their life and they can't find that power. So having that already at a young age, that's actually really crazy and kind of cool to think about. But that's kind of something I've learned throughout the past couple of months, to trust myself and to go through the processes, and then to know that, yeah, I can't see the end result, but I'll know I'll be okay.
That's awesome. I like how you said fear of normal, you know, because you know you want something different. You don't want to end up like everyone else, you know. Not to say that that's necessarily like a bad thing or to throw it under the bus, but you know, at the same time, you know there's more for you, or there's more options available for you, you know, and it just opens your mind to those possibilities. Like, I can go do that. You know, it just, I think that's awesome. You know, when my eyes got open to that, like, what? um, what impact has it had on people around you, you know, once you started getting that more self-confidence and building up your business, and you know, have your friends kind of jumped on the bandwagon, sorry, or have some of them kind of faded off, or family, or how has that impacted, had an influence over those around you?
I definitely think when people find what they're passionate about and they really hone in on what they're doing, it becomes clear the people in your life that will actually benefit you, and then those people that you're dragging with you. So I think that actually clarified, like my friends and then my family, who are the ones that either support me or, you know, they don't really care. So those people kind of faded out. But I think over time, you figure that out with anything you're doing. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship or business or anything like that. But you figure out what's important to you, and then you decide, you make that decision based on your purpose and then your perspective. I think that, you know, you don't have to worry about trying to cut people out of your life. It'll naturally happen. And that's kind of a cool thing that you can see that happens. Instead of having to be that jerk person, it just happens. You kind of grow out of those people. So that's kind of been something that's been happening with the past couple of months. And I think with the self-confidence, I've always had confidence, but it's kind of been mixed with insecurities, because a lot of, especially young teenage women, they have problems with self-confidence because of what society tells us. So I think being able to be that example of saying, yeah, you can have self-love, you can have respect for yourself, man or a woman. And it's so powerful to have that in your life, that, you know, having that, being that example and showing other people that they can do that. I think that's helped a lot of people, even if I don't know them. And people can either hate me or love me because of it. And I that's the majority of the reasons I want to be confident, is to show other people that they can too, and to give people that value, because that's one of my missions in life, is to help people have the best life and to be happy with that. And it doesn't matter if they start a business or they have a job or that kind of thing. But if you're happy in your life, then that is great. And that's, I think, the main majority reason of why we're here on this earth, just to be happy. But that has to come with internal contentment and peace, and then based on decisions that you make in your life.
Thank you. And I know it's had a huge impact when I've been able to open it up and, on those decisions and the things I've been able to live the life that I want. You can see my son in the background popping in and out and whatever, but I get to say when I'm home with my kids or when I'm out, and it's just huge difference. What would you say to people, that are still stuck in that, or thinking of starting a business or branching out or whatever, or have that lack of self-confidence? What would you say to help them or encourage them if they wanted to get started?
I think if you want to get started with business, I would figure out if that's something that you actually would be motivated to do. So I remember actually talking with someone a few days ago, and they said that if most entrepreneurs, they're basically people who see problems and solve it based on the majority of people who see that as a problem. So if you are okay with being through that roller coaster, because there are really high moments and then just like really low moments, if you're okay with that, if you're good at solving problems and you're okay with being alone for a while to actually do that, or be surrounded by people who have the same like-mindedness as you, I think that's a good place to start. And like I said, if you just start and go for it, you'll learn more than just sitting there and planning it out. Because if you sit there, plan it out, and you actually don't know what's going to happen, then you're just wasting more time planning that time. So it's a good idea to plan for the future. But if you're doing that all the time, you're going to miss opportunities. You're not going to be able to go through and actually take in the process, because it is a process. It's a marathon. It's not your most make money quick schemes are schemes for a reason. They're most likely not long-term things you can do. So if you're okay with all of that stuff, then I would say just start, see what happens. And I think everyone should just try entrepreneurship in their life, because it's like trying out a sport. You don't know if you're good at it until you try it. And if you suck at it, then that's okay. Then there's jobs out there you can go do. There's different hobbies you can take to make your life better, more fulfilled. And it doesn't have to be the end all be all. So if you go through that list, you figure out you're okay with that, and go out and try it, and then you figure out, hey, this is kind of cool, then stick with it. And then if you find out the opposite, then life will not end. There's other things you can do, and there's other opportunities out there for you. So I think that's a type of mindset thing you can go through if you're trying to decide to start a business, or if you're kind of hesitant about it.
Thank you. And using that analogy of sports, the great thing with business and entrepreneurship, there's so many tweaks and niches that you can do. Like take soccer. If you're not the best at one position, maybe tweak and try another position. Maybe go from I don't know all the terms in soccer, but go from like the front person to the goalie, or go try this position, or left field, or whatever those positions are. Tweak it a little bit, or try a different avenue. If you love animals, try being a veterinarian, or maybe you try just like being a caretaker, or whatever, or a groomer. There's so many different channels that they can tweak and find that sweet spot. So I like how you use that analogy. So thank you. If people wanted to reach out and talk to you and ask you more, learn more about your business and whatnot, where could they find you?
Yeah, I'm on all social media platforms. For Facebook, it's Alexandra Beekley, because I changed my name like 15 days ago and then hated it 3 days later, and now I'm stuck with it for another like 45 days. So we're with that. So it's Alexandra Beekley, and then Alexandra Rose Beekley on all the other platforms, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those types of things. You reach out, DM me, text me, that kind of thing. My email, if you want to reach me, is abeekley, B as in boy, EEKLEY, and then tec@gmail.com. It's my main email. And then, yeah, I have my main business is called Meilleure Vie Rosie. It's French for the best Rosie life, and that's the URL. So MEILLEUREVIEROSIE.com. So
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll post those links below in the comments as well. Alex, again, thank you for taking the time and sharing your insight and your experience and knowledge. We will talk to you later. Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you.